Hey, folks, we're just talking about. I always joke that I had 800 kids. I just found out that Lev has 1,600 children. And that's why he looks the way he looks right now. He looks broken, and I look broken because I just came back from New York City, where I landed in the nation's capital at Union Station, Washington D.C., where you come out of Washington of Union Station and you're greeted by the National Guard and two small tanks. And it's completely abnormal. It's infuriating, and you see just a waste of resources, a waste of our soldiers. Half the people are pissed off. The 25% are confused, and then the other 25% are taking photos with the tanks. This is Donald Trump's America. It's pathetic. And here's Lev, just came back from football practice. And I just woke up from a small nap because I have 800 kids. It's only time to take a nap. And on the Amtrak, I get this text. Actually, I get this phone call from Lev. Hey, let's go on later today. When are you getting back? We got to talk about Bongino. And so the framing of today is how Putin is continuing to play Donald Trump and how the Epstein files and the Epstein scandal has sidelined Bongino. So let's first talk about the Putin Trump meeting because I haven't talked to Lev since then. And we just got some breaking news today, which should not surprise to, anyone, is that Donald Trump has revoked the security clearances of 37 former and current officials. Now, I'm going to read from the New York Times. President Trump revoked the security clearances of 37 current and former national security officials, many of whom worked on Russia analysis or foreign threats to U.S. elections, according to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. They included Shelby Pearson, senior intelligence official who warned Congress about Russian meddling in the 2020 election, a senior CIA analyst currently serving undercover. Congratulations, MAGA. You just exposed the life of a senior CIA analyst. That I pray to God
It's not
that
his first.
analyst.
It's not his first
I,
time. When you,
yeah, I pray to God that analyst is not dead, by the way. We just blew that, just took away his security clearance. And a senior National Security Agency data scientist. Furthermore, to make matters even worse with the spectacle that we saw where Donald Trump got steamrolled, and not my word for it, but Fox News' words for it, by Vladimir Putin, applauded Putin, red carpet for Putin. Earlier today, uh, on Fox and Friends, they asked him, what was the reaction among European leaders when you decided to call Putin during your meeting? Folks, it came out yesterday that he stepped away from this meeting with not just Zelensky, but the European leaders to do a 40-minute call with Putin. Trump answers that by saying, I didn't do it in front of them. I thought that would be disrespectful to President Putin. Uh, Folks, he's a compromised man, thoroughly compromised. But that's the latest information. Lev, I haven't talked to you since that meeting. Tell me what your sources are saying about how Putin is gloating over his meeting and steamrolling of Donald Trump.
yeah, no, I mean, I got called today early in the morning. I think it was like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, telling me how that Putin was just bragging about how he's basically got the West, the EU, sitting right now with Trump trying to figure out which land to give up, which meeting to do, which security. Meanwhile, he's not planning on stopping any war. He's continuing because the game plan that Trump understands that the game plan is to prolong. That's the whole. It's to delay, prolong, because what Trump is being told, and this is really good. Several sources that he's being told that Putin's going to win very soon. That Russia's going to take over certain parts of the Donbass, and then they're going to basically be able to then get into a ceasefire situation. Now, here's what's behind the whole thing, and yesterday they leaked it a little bit, but the media didn't catch on to it, because see, Vladimir, what they're trying to do is they're trying to do regime change. They need to get rid of Zelensky. What people don't understand, and I'm going to give you a little history right now, is Vladimir Putin is never going to sit down with Zelensky, because that's part of the reason why they went to war is to get rid of Zelensky. They tried to assassinate Zelensky. They don't accept him as a legitimate president. And it's not that, this is going back maybe weeks or months. I mean, literally yesterday, they still talk about it. And even today, as Donald Trump yesterday came back from that phone call, which we'll talk about in a second why he did that phone call. But he came back from that phone call and started saying that I spoke to Vladimir Putin and he wants to set up a meeting, a bilateral meeting with Zelensky. That's how yesterday's big breaking news ended. That Trump is setting it up. Within the 2 weeks, they're supposed to meet. Today, I get a call early in the morning telling me they're cracking up, saying Putin is never meeting with Zelensky. This is
Nope.
never, this is not happening. That Trump is off the rockers, and how yesterday, in that 40-minute call, Putin basically dangled a carrot in front of Trump of meeting Zelensky, so Trump could go back in there and give them something to be able, because they're stuck at the land, and that's why you heard them come out and say only Zelensky and Putin could talk about anything to do with the land, like the two so they were stuck there. So he dangled it. So they're laughing about today at 7 o'clock in the morning. I get that call, so I go out and I say, you know what? Screw it. I put it out. Breaking news. Sources tell me. I do that on Twitter, everything. Literally, I call as I'm speaking to my cousin. 15 minutes later, I see breaking CNN. We just got sources that Trump, and then literally 15 minutes later, Putin's people came out and verified, said there's no meeting that's in the works. There has to be conditions. And see, this is the key. It's how they present it to you, because what we saw yesterday was a lot of theatrical and a lot of diplomatic spin from a lot of from all the world leaders, because there was really no negotiating going on. There was no, when they were sitting there talking about that these Article 5 type of protections and everything, it was such nonsense, because I was speaking to people that were there on the inside telling me that they were like cracking up, because at the end of the day, for them to even consider stuff like these type of things, Zelensky would have to agree first to give up all that land. Like, they were talking about things like supposedly, Zelensky and Putin already met, and it was just fictitious. And Trump, he was floating shit like you can. Like literally yesterday, that's what you saw. Breaking news, Trump talking about boots on the ground, that he might put, protection. And what happened today? It's like the Cinderella ball, watch. As soon as the everything ended, the dust settled, what happened? Putin bombarded Ukraine heavier than he's ever done in the past several months, killing people and destroying Ukraine. So he continued doing what he's doing. You got Russian tanks driving into Ukraine with dual flags now. You have a Russian and American flag on Russian tanks going in, mocking this situation. Okay, and today in the morning, Trump literally in the morning starts backing everything up. He basically said, "I'm not, no troops on the ground, no NATO, no consideration." And what did he again end up saying? Basically, it takes two to tango, and Zelensky's going to have to give up some land, because that's what it's all about. Wash.
Yep.
It's not about some kind of diplomacy to save the kids. Even that cheap, disgusting shot they played, that little game by having Melania Trump write that letter about the 20,000 kids, which I've been reporting on, talking about, which Zelensky even said that's a precondition. Without, I mean, it's you got you kidnapped over 20,000 kids. You have them there as hostages. I said, if you want to start off, and since Melania wrote that letter, bring the kids home. Release the
Yep.
kids. Show some good faith. You don't want to do, but he's showing that it's all a distraction, because what's happening here in home is beyond bonkers. Wash, because you got James Comer that and I reported on it a week ago, that got orders from Trump to paint the narrative. You have him doing backdoor, behind the scenes, what's it called, questioning. Yesterday at Bill Barr. Bill Barr
Yep.
came in there, and they came out breaking news. Just think about this, guys. The only thing that they said, that Bill Barr came out and said, James Comer came out and said, that Donald Trump was nowhere, and had nothing to do with it. This is not. But see, this is the whole thing.
Can,
This is
can,
what he
can I
said.
quote? Can I
Yeah,
quote?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
please.
right wing. This is from Midas Touch. Right wing podcaster Charlie Kirk on Trump's former AG Bill Barr's deposition yesterday. Quote: Former AG Bill Barr told House investigators that he never saw anything that could tie President Trump to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. According to Oversight Chair James Comer, quote, he said he had never seen anything that would implicate Trump in any of this. Garcia said Comer is lying about what's Barr's testimony. Quote, yesterday, during his deposition with our committee, AG Barr could not clear Trump of wrongdoing. Chairman Comer should release the entire unedited transcript of his interview to the public. That is big news.
It's huge. I mean, it's basically saying what me and you've been talking about for the past several weeks. I mean, they're trying to scrub and paint the narrative. But look, Comer has already practiced at this. He just did that for 2, 3 years with the fake Biden impeachment. Remember that? He had the
Yeah.
same behind closed door hearings. They came out, leaked, oh, Hunter Biden said this and this one said that. And then, you'd have Dan Goldman or somebody come out and say, that's absurd. That never, but it's totally not. This is their MO. It's misinformation, disinformation, throw it out there, confuse the shit out of you, get you so tired to the point where you just say, you know what, I just don't give a shit. Like it's irrelevant. I care more about my gas prices. I care, you start getting numb. Because think about this, Waj. I've been watching the news all day today. I haven't seen one report about that there are just what you started off with talking about, that there are National Guard still in Washington, D.C. Still. You know why? Not because there's major crime going around Washington, D.C., but because he's trying to make you used to it. Because, so like when you get off, the train and you see the tanks there, you're not like, oh my God. So you get used to it. So, because again, what I wrote in my Substack, this is a four-prong approach. The first prong, they already started, by going out there, bringing ICE in there, by going out there, changing the application. And just yesterday, what did he do? He said that he wants to use the executive power to get rid of early voting.
Yep.
He wants to also get rid of electronic electronic voting. I mean, not early.
Mail-in voting. He lied.
But I'm
And
sorry.
no one checked him on the lie. His insane post yesterday about mail-in voting, how no other country does it. Russia does it. Every other country does it. He did mail-in voting. I mean, that interview with Zelensky, what I thought, Lev, was one of the most, there's several things that were quite revealing, but what I think people still aren't picking up on is, first and foremost, the mail-in voting rant, which, by the way, was another earworm put in by Putin, right? And then secondly, the other main one where he turns to Zelensky and says, there's no elections during wartime. Okay, well, in 3.5 years, maybe let's see, I'm like, whoa. He literally telegraphed what
Right.
you and I have been saying, and we're not the only ones, and this is the world's worst I told you so, that if it seems like and even folks, Lev and I said when he talked about electoral reform, before he commanded the Texas Republicans to gerrymander, we said on this show, electoral reform will look like gerrymandering and going after mail-in votes. So what's happening now? He's strong-arming Texas Republicans to gerrymander. Openly, they're admitting to stealing 5 seats. Now he's trying to strong-arm Ohio. But by the way, other Republicans in other states realize this might backfire. Now he's going after mail-in voting openly, just straight up spreading lies. And he's an old man, so he said, they asked me for my license plate. You're like, what? He's a 79-year-old man, right? And then what we said, what he was going to do if that doesn't work, and it seems like it might not work, folks, because go check out my interview with Mike Madrid from yesterday. He talks about, he's called the dummy mandering. He says the Republican gerrymandering might actually work against Republicans in Texas because 3 of those 5 districts are heavily Latino. They've completely turned on Trump, and many of them went for Beto. So the gerrymandering might actually work against him, and mail-in voting might work against them also because a lot of folks use mail-in voting. Trump used mail-in voting. Our armed forces use mail-in voting. A lot of Republicans use mail-in voting. A lot of rural voters, Republicans use mail-in voting. So if that doesn't work, what is he going to do, Lev? He has now 10,000 ICE agents.
Yep.
They're all many of them are extremists.
Yep.
He's unleashing the National Guard, the military. He's normalized the presence of these National Guard members for no reason. I was there today in D.C. Peaceful. It is just an affront. They're just wasting their time. But he's normalized the presence of it. And now he openly said in front of the world while the cameras were rolling, oh, you don't have to have elections during wartime. What did we say? If I was him, I would do martial law.
And the other
Please
interesting
don't
thing.
listen to me, Donald Trump. Please don't listen to me.
Yeah.
Just die.
Please.
Please
Yeah.
die instead.
But you know the funny part, watch, they're listening to us because I see Laura Lumen or others quote the stuff that they're definitely following, listening, and hearing. But I'm going to give you another brainwash that he's doing. See, I know Donald Trump very well, and all of these things. I was in those room watch when we were. It's part of the Stalin treatment. How keep saying one thing until people start believing you. I give you another one he's doing that nobody's noticing, but I know him very well, and I'm watching the pictures, and I'm like, holy shit. Every leader, since when they come there, after they're done, he walks them through the Washington souvenir shop and shows them a hat of 2028.
Oh, I saw that photo.
There were several. This was this time. He also did with Darji Berjani and President there. So it's become a pattern, and I realize what he's doing. He's bringing him in there, and subconsciously, he's getting these leaders ready that he's going to run because then the conversation goes, well, people are saying I should, run and I should be. And he has them in that position where you saw Zelensky when he turned around and he said, 3 more years, if there's a war. And Zelensky said, wouldn't you like that? You would like, you would really like that. I mean, he talks it and says it's part of the whole mechanism of brainwashing everybody to believe, to understand what's coming. And we're telling you, it's all about him trying to stay in power forever.
Can I say this? This breaking news that just came out. I just want your thoughts on it. That just literally as you were speaking. And folks, what Lev is saying, he's not making this up. Go check out the photos of the meeting. He literally invited Zelensky and the European leaders to look at his merch where it says 2028. So when Lev and I are telling you he's not going to leave, believe the evidence of your eyes and ears. What more do you need to see? We have the National Guard and tanks in the Washington Capitol. ICE just got a $180 billion budget. ICE agents are masked and weaponized and just jackbooted thugs for Donald Trump who love the Proud Boys openly on camera. You have him literally attacking mail-in ballots. You have him literally asking Texas Republicans and other Republicans to gerrymander, openly saying, we just want more seats. What do you think a desperate man like him, who now, by the way, I don't know if you saw it, Lev, he's at his lowest rating ever. And Epstein, the economy, we're going to talk about that in a second. He's going to go lower and lower and lower. What is he going to do? And of course, he has to stay in power because, in addition to all the crimes he committed, I'm sure him and his administration have committed a whole bunch of other crimes during the past 7 months. So he's going to stay in power. He's never going to leave peacefully. I hope I'm wrong. But some breaking news right now. Thanks to the Smartmatic defamation case, and speaking about right-wing media having a tough week, Newsmax also had to do a massive settlement for millions of dollars for spreading lies. This is on the Washington Post. Just came out. Jeanine Pirro, who's now a judge, bragged about helping Trump and the GOP while a Fox News host. The former Fox host complained censorship by Fox over her coverage of the 2020 election, according to newly unredacted documents in the Smartmatic defamation case. I love it. Your take on that?
Well, I mean, what can I tell you? I know Chris Ruddy very well. I know Janine Piero very well. I remember when
I
Chris
mean,
Ruddy.
she's a freak, right, Lev? She looks like
Oh,
unhinged.
she is, I'll tell you, she definitely likes her alcohol. I could tell you that much. Just like Rudy, all of them. I don't know if I told you the story about how my partner Igor, I was doing a fundraiser for DeSantis with Don Jr., and she was there and she just came out with her book. She got so blasted with my partner Igor at the time where she was pitching him to sell him like 10,000 books. He ended up convincing to buy 1,000 books. I ended up buying 100 books just to be able to get the two of them away from each other. But yeah, I mean, first of all, she's all about the dollars and cents. They're all fake. It's all about the show. That's why, like, I know I've seen them in real life. I've seen them talk in real life, and I've seen them when the cameras go on, when the interviews go on, and now to see them, run our country in a theatrical form. This is the crazy part. It's
Yeah.
not, it's not real. It's, the things that they believe and want to do. You can't even imagine like what they're really thinking, what they're planning. I mean, it's undoing and how they think about certain people. Like I'm telling you honestly, watch, we're going to see arrests soon. Why? Mark my words.
Yeah.
There are arrests coming, and there are going to be some big names. And the same thing when it comes to the Epstein stuff. We're not going to see the real stuff come out, but we are going to see a version of a story come out that is going to take. Mark my word. But the one thing that I'll tell you with the Epstein stuff is they're right now big as Joker, and we've been talking about it. The one thing that they can't control, and even now, they're starting to make certain moves right after that meeting that they had at the White House that we talked about, is
Yep.
Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino, and I'm hearing it more and more, is right now the deal that's being cut with him is that for him to walk away, but to stay silent. But I don't know how long, how silent. I mean, what I'm curious to see him not in the FBI. They're on his podcast and talk about the Epstein stuff. So I mean, it's getting interesting. It's heating up.
Let me set up for you. A couple of weeks ago, folks, if you were listening in, Lev said his sources were saying that Dan Bongino, because of his reputation, because of his base, they were turning on him because he was the man who was going to unveil the deep state, and he got in and he became the deep state. And you could see him being very uncomfortable in those interviews, talking with Kash Patel, being bug-eyed. Oh, we saw the video, nothing to see. Don't worry about it. And his base has turned on him. MAGA still, by the way, folks, has not forgotten about the Epstein file. So Dan Bongino, to court his base, to court the money, right? He has friction with Pam Bondi in particular over the Epstein files because he feels like he has betrayed the rank and file of MAGA, right? He's lost his bravado. He's lost his credibility. So Lev said, his sources are saying that Dan Bongino is the one loose cannon that the Trump administration is trying to just get back into their folds. And lo and behold, late last night, an article came out in the New York Times titled, "In a surprise move, Trump taps Missouri Attorney General to help run FBI." And the move appears to diminish the authority of the current deputy director, Dan Bongino, because we live in the worst timeline on earth. That was an actual line I just read, which is factual, whose tumultuous tenure has included a pitched argument over files related to disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. Interesting that they call him disgraced financier. I would say pedophile. The Trump administration said on Monday that it had tapped the Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey to be a deputy director of the FBI in what many rank and file agents described as a surprising arrangement. Lev.
I mean, it's the you see the wheels start moving. First of all, he's now going to take over. He's now going to be the person that's going to start backing up Pam Bondi and this whole Epstein Maxwell stuff to come out. He's going to start taking more of a charge approach, which Bongino wasn't planning on taking. The interesting part is they still haven't corralled him fully, so that's why he's still there. You see, it's like a dual role, which is very unusual. And But I don't think that's going to last for too much longer. I think eventually, they're still having talks behind the scene, and I think what I'm hearing that eventually. Trump's going to have a talk because him and Trump have not have had conversation ever since he left the office, and then Trump called him, and that's it. Ever since then, they have. That's why you had Susie Wiles actually coming to that meeting to represent Trump, and you had Kash Patel representing Dan Bongino, and you had Pam Bondi, and those were the friction between the three of them. So it's still unfolding. Just like I told you 2 weeks ago, and I'm telling you, in my girl Rachel Maddow's famous words, watch the space. You know what I'm saying to you? There, it's going to, if they could corral him and keep, is how long can keep? I don't believe they could keep him shut very long, especially once he leaves the FBI. I think once he becomes leaves the FBI, I unless again, Waj, because you gotta understand the other thing he's also seeing. He's seeing the power of their lust for power and their bloodthirstiness of doing whatever it takes to shut somebody up. So, in a time like this, knowing what they could do, knowing that they're going to try to arrest certain people, they're going to try to destroy certain people's lives, being Dan Bongino, you also have to play your cards very. I mean, I was in, that position where the wrong move, and you're looking at 20 years or life because all of a sudden you stole some secret documents you took that weren't supposed to be there. You leaked them to China. I mean, the stories get made up very quickly, and all of a sudden, your case is sealed. It's, national security. I went through it because, once they say national security, till this day, Waj, Waj. In my case, there's probably over 500 pages that are redacted fully black because of national security of people I was meeting with on behalf of Trump and everything all over. Some of them Zelensky and others. So when they use that word national security, you lose your rights, we lose our rights, and they get the power, and that's where martial law, and that's where all these other things come into play.
I feel with Dan Bongino, if I were him, I would play it smart. I would keep it quiet. I would have all the goods on Pambondi, Kash Patel, Donald Trump. I would play my cards to my vest and hold it tight. And I hate to give him advice, but what I would do is just stay quiet and then wait for Donald Trump to go down because he's going to go down over the economy and Epstein. And whenever it is time for him to use that information to come out on top, right? So suppose Donald Trump goes down, then I would say to my base, this is what I saw. I am the whistleblower. I am the hero, right? Or leak to Rupert Murdoch or Michael Wolff or a few other people, right? Because he has a very interesting, and this is what I love. I knew that I always say fascists come for everyone, especially other fascists. There's no loyalty there. At the end of the day, Dan Bongino is going to have to choose between the MAGA base that he helped radicalize with the deep state QAnon conspiracies or Donald Trump. Folks, this is coming to a head. MAGA's not going to let it go. The Epstein files is like herpes. It's going to stay with him forever, right? No matter how much he tries to punt and distract, and he will. And as he punts and he distracts and he becomes more and more authoritarian, over 80% of America, it's the only issue that's bipartisan in America that 80% of Republicans, 80% of independents, and 90% of Democrats want to know more about the Epstein files. So Dan Bongino is going to be stuck. It's going to tear him apart. And it's just a matter of time. I think he's going to try to balance it out. And if he sees that Trump is weakening and dipping, and he has some help from Rupert Murdoch and a few others, then I see Dan Bongino drip coming out and reclaiming his mantle as the people's warrior about the deep state. And he'll say, I had to leave the deep state. I came in there and I saw that Pam Bondi was corrupt and I had to be pure. But I don't see him. He has to make a decision, Lev, because I feel like, him and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, when it comes to Epstein, they're all over it. And it's either going to be Trump or the MAGA base that's radicalized over the Epstein files. But you know this, you know these people better than me. You tell me your read.
You know what? First of all, you're 100% Waj. You're right. But, I was saving this. I'm writing a letter for my Substack subscriber later on that to break some of this news. But because Waj is such a great independent journalist, I'm going to break some a little bit on it here right now. Everything you're saying is correct. But the one person that nobody's been mentioning that I'm hearing he is talking to right now, Elon Musk.
Oh,
And
of course.
I've heard that Elon quietly behind the scenes has been reaching out to Bongino. Now I'm careful as this is I'm in a position also, Waja, me and you spoke about this, like this information should be used differently. Yes, I'm breaking it, and but we need a much bigger audience, much bigger platform to be able to use this, and that's why I'm trying to right now get in touch with either Governor Newsom or Pritzker, because they're out there right now on the fight to be able to be able to deal with them a little bit more, maybe on a much bigger level than what we're trying to do here on Substack, because I know we're growing the community. If you've noticed, just in the past few weeks, some of the stuff that I've been breaking and we've been talking, and you got to
You've been
understand.
on point, man. It's like you're batting 1,000. I'm very impressed.
And it's not that I'm trying to pat myself on the back, but what I'm trying to warn everybody is that eventually it's gonna stop. I mean, they're gonna find the leakers. I mean, I know people are scared. Some stop talking, then they talk, and then and Trump is aggressively looking. I mean, especially, let me put it to you this way: after the whole what's it called, Vance dinner fiasco, he was fuming, trying to find out who's leaking certain stuff. So what I'm saying to you, it's important to take advantage of the moment when we have such information, when we have such turmoil, when we have certain things going on, to take advantage. Because right now, I mean, just like what we're reporting on and what we're talking about, is he's implementing all of these situations to be able for us not to even have an opportunity to have a fair election. So we can't wait till a year from now or 6 months from now We need to act now. And information, I think, in any war or in any battle or in any business deal, I think is one of the most powerful things to be able to deal with. So, if anybody out there is in Governor Newsom's camp or Governor Pritzker's camp, or that give a shout out, reach out. I think you won't. It's like having an ex-wife in your camp, and reality. I'll tell you one of the things. One of the reasons why they go after Newsom so much and Newsom as such, because we had Kimberly Guilfoyle in our camp. I mean,
Yeah.
When Kimberly was, I know Kimberly very well. She was dating,
Gavin's
and
ex-wife.
and that's Gavin Newsom's ex-wife. You don't think she was talking about Gavin Newsom, and so what I'm saying to you is, I could be that ex-wife. You know what I'm saying to you? That's been, because it's not just about Donald Trump that we're fighting. And this is the other thing people forget about, Waj. We're not just fighting Donald Trump. It's the enablers. It's the whole system. It's all the people that have been around them for the past 8 years, since 2015, some left, some on, that all of those that are also part of this whole cabal that we need to unwind, that we need to be able, because if we just could concentrate on Donald Trump, he's not good. We're not going to win anything, because while we're concentrating just on him, they're taking away our rights. They're rewriting the Constitution. They're enforcing, martial law. You know what I'm saying to you?
So it's a scooplet that Lev dropped, and for the bigger scoop, look at his newsletter that he's going to write either tonight or tomorrow. That according to his sources, Elon Musk has reached out to Dan Bongino, and as we saw last night, and Lev called this also from his sources. He goes, "Watch that space with Dan Bongino. He is very irate. They're trying to get him under control, and it seems, with the fact that again." It was reported last night that they're bringing in Missouri's Attorney General in a surprise move to diminish the authority of the current deputy director, Dan Bongino. They're bringing in Andrew Bailey. I wonder why. They probably realize they can't have him under control, which is signaling. And I tweeted this when I first saw this article. I said, this is, folks, the real story is this is Bongino's exit. They're diminishing his role, so they probably can bring him in. And Bongino, according to Lev's sources, is talking to Elon Musk. I will remind people that when Elon Musk had his public breakup with Donald Trump in early summer, what did he tweet? Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. You all remember that? And when he said that, I'm like, Elon Musk knows MAGA. He knows Donald Trump's base. He hit him where it hurts. And all the normies were like, why is he tweeting this? Because he knows MAGA's radicalized on this issue. He knows this is the thing that will hurt Donald Trump. And he hasn't let go of it, folks. There's still that rift. And like I said before, the Epstein files, everyone says, oh, it's a distraction. It's a distraction. All of this is a distraction and part of his authoritarian plan. It's not or. It's a distraction from Epstein and part and parcel of his authoritarian plan. Mail-in voting, the racism, attacking the Smithsonian, Paramount caving. Now, promoting slavery as not being that bad. I'm sure you saw his latest post, right? The National Guard being unleashed, right? It's part and parcel. Distraction and also him openly telegraphing his authoritarian agenda and fascist agenda. And I do believe with Elon, I don't know if you've seen this, Lev. I was talking to someone about this yesterday. Twitter, which is just a platform for bots and Nazis and freaks, right? But I have seen in the past. Can you hear me? I
Oh,
said
no.
I've noticed for the first time in months on Twitter, my critiques of Donald Trump are not being suppressed. My critiques of Donald Trump are actually getting engagement for the first time in months. And I know the algorithm is wonky, but have you noticed this? I'm not the only one who's noticed this. Someone
I,
else has said the same thing.
I'm the same. I'm the same way, because before I would put out like a story or like something to do with, like, breaking or one of these. I'd get maybe 1,000 likes or something. Now I'll put it out like a story I put out right now. I got 1 million views. You know what I'm saying to you? So I agree with you, and that's why it's part. Listen, there's a reason why, and I want to say to all our subscribers of you, I'm going to give you some really important advice that I've learned in dealing with all these oligarchs, with narcissists, world leaders, and because I've dealt with a lot of them. And I'll tell you this much: it's, first of all, don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do.
Mm.
And then don't listen to what is reported on. Read between lines on what's not reported on. And if you go by those little things, you will see right through what their whole game plan is, because it's not that difficult.
Nope.
But because they throw all of this into you, and because it's like, juggling. I'm juggling three, now five, now seven, now nine. You're all over the place, and it feels like you don't know how to get a hold of it. But it's still the same thing. We the people have control. We the people have our voice. That's the one thing that Donald Trump is scared of more than anything. That's why he's putting the National Guard there. That's why he's trying to do away with election reform. He's not scared of the media or the DOJ or Putin. He's scared of you, the people. And that's why, it's so important to support independent journalists like Waj, like the Midas guys, like my son Aaron, because independent media is the only thing you guys have left. I'm not a journalist. I mean, I'm out here just trying to tell you what I know and try to share what I can to, try to clean up for some of the stuff that I was involved with, to try to, do right. Because I was there, part of their whole thing. I know I was sat in those rooms. Remember, I was the one that first went and sat down with Zelensky and told him that if he doesn't announce an investigation to Biden, they're not going to get military aid. That was the first quid pro quo that Trump got impeached for. He stopped that military aid. So I know what they're talking about. And so when I'm telling you this stuff, I'm not trying to do it because I want some clicks or I want to get another extra 1,000 followers. I'm doing it and risking it all because I'm telling you that if we don't act now, if we don't do something now, if we don't raise our voices, speak to our elected officials, go to like Governor Newsom, like the people that are actually speaking up, trying to. If we don't do it, I promise you, folks, you are going to regret it. You will be remembering my words for a long time to come, because we are coming this close every day. What
Yep.
you saw play out in Alaska and come out here, that was not no joke, because what you didn't see is the deals that they've already made about Nord Stream 2, the deals they've already made about the minerals that they're just waiting that Putin's taking over the rest of Donbass, the deals that they're making where he's going to start legitimizing Russia right now, guys. I promise you that.
Oh
We're
yeah.
going to see that within the next few weeks, all of a sudden, something like small, maybe having first airlines open up, then all of a sudden some trade. And then he's going to validate it to his base by saying, because he's bringing money in, just like he did with the Qataris. He justified, it's okay, I could get a Qatari plane. I got 5 point something trillion in. Where's that money? Where's the 5 point? Who got, what, I keep saying, where's all this money he keeps getting in? Where's it going? I don't see the deficit going down. I don't see no infrastructure being built. I see our debt going up. I see Medicaid getting destroyed. I see, jobs being lost. I see all of this happening, but he's running around saying we got all this money coming in from
And his
tariffs.
family has made more than $3 billion in the past 7 months. The Trump family
Oh,
has made.
oh, they made more
So
money than I think that our whole economy. I think
it,
they're
it,
making
it
more money. It's
off
incredible.
of crypto, off of the coin, the Trump coin. It's all a big grift. It's all quid pro quo.
It's not just the kids. It's also Zach Witkoff. Make sure because Zach Witkoff, Steve Witkoff's son, is part of the three. It's the threesome. It's that's why Steve Witkoff is so heavily. He's just think about it. He's everywhere. He's in the Middle East in negotiations. He's in the Congo negotiations. He's in Russia negotiations. He's the only person that met Putin more than 5 times. I mean, and his son is Zach is with Don Jr. because you think Don Jr. or Eric Twiddledee and Twiddledum could put together crypto. Neither one of them could. They would trip over themselves, not knowing what they're doing. They're not the brains. They're just like their father. They're the face. They're running around, promoting it while who it's the Witkoffs. The father son duo that right now are running our country, running the show. It's incredible.
And someone said Howard Lutnick. It's billionaires. It's a
Oh, yeah,
billionaire's
yeah,
paradise.
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's that
And,
whole
and
cabal.
The oligarchy, Peter Thiel's boy, his groomed JD Vance, just waiting for Donald Trump to die, folks. The billionaire screwing all of us, screwing the economy, screwing our healthcare, screwing our national security, screwing our reputation, all to make more, folks. And I want to put an accurate number on that. I said more than 3 billion. Yesterday, a report came out that the Trump family somehow, folks, has made $3.4 billion in the past during his time as president. $3.4 billion as Americans can't afford groceries, as the US currency has fallen, as measles has skyrocketed, as our public health infrastructure is being decimated, as the Moody has downgraded US credit rating, as friggin' the trade deals have produced nothing but our allies turning away from us, and we're about 50% closer to recession, and we're about to lose Medicaid. Or at the very least, Medicaid's about to be gutted to a tune of $1 trillion so that billionaires could get permanent tax cuts that will increase the deficit by $3.3 billion. It's all a grift. It's all happening right in the open, folks. Trust the evidence of your eyes. Trust the evidence of your ears. And I appreciate, Lev, the kind words. Folks, I know there's a lot, which is why I hope, when I bring on these experts and I talk in depth, my goal here is to be informed and then also inform you. And what I try to do as an English major and as a writer is connect the dots because otherwise it's too overwhelming. So we try to put it in a narrative. We try to connect the dots. We try to make sure that you all understand what's happening because an informed citizenry is less resistant to disinformation, to lies, to bullshit. And an informed citizenry then can organize. And the majority needs to organize against this fascist movement. And that's where you can just literally take them apart little by little, right? It's going to be death through 1,000 cuts. Everyone's looking for the haymaker. It doesn't work that way. Everyone has to go 10 toes down. Everyone has a role to play. And we have to chip away at this fascist machine. Chip away, chip away, chip away. And the good news is he doesn't have the numbers. He's reckless. He's incompetent. He's overplayed his hand. And now he's at 38%. He's lost his Latino support. He's lost his youth support. Folks, the economy and Epstein, those two E's, just watch those spaces. And also, people did not vote for the National Guard and ICE to be terrorizing fellow Americans. And people did not vote for Vladimir Putin, a war criminal, to get the red carpet. Support for Ukraine among Republicans has gone up 10 points. Support for immigrants has gone up to record numbers, folks. They overplayed their hand. And furthermore, last thing I'll say is arrogance, the pride before the fall, right? They think that they will rule forever. Steve Bannon said, if I could get enough of the whites and just some of the people of color, we will rule for 40 years. Hitler also said it'd be 1,000-year Reich. He lasted 12 years before he killed himself like a coward, right? So they think they're going to hold on to the base, which is why these fissures are important. You're seeing these fissures, folks. Go in, be strategic. Pry. You see Marjorie Taylor Greene on Palestine? Pry. You see Tucker Carlson here? Pry. You see Dan Bongino? Pry. Let them fight. Epstein. We keep telling you, Epstein is going to be the major crack and the economy is going to be the major crack. It's not the only ones. So everyone has a role to play. There's 1,300 people who are watching. Thanks so much for folks watching. This is late night, but Lev gave me a call. Drop some major scoops. We're going to have this entire conversation for the 1,300, for several of you who came in late. It's going to be on Lev's Substack in about 30 minutes. It'll be on my Substack in 30 minutes. Specifically, Lev talked to his sources about Putin's reaction to the meeting, and Putin is just laughing. They're laughing at Donald Trump. They're laughing at America, and they feel like they got everything. Furthermore, his sources said that Elon Musk is reaching out to Dan Bongino because Bongino, he might flip, he might not. They're trying to bring him in. But the fact that you have the Missouri Attorney General coming in, that is a sign, folks, that Bongino is on his way out. So if we can flip Bongino somehow, he has some tasty goods. Him and Pam Bondi do not get along, folks. Lev, before I shamelessly let you go, shamelessly promote yourself.
Folks, please support the movement because this is not no longer just a community. I consider this a movement. I consider us a resistance. And when I say us, I include Waj, I include the Midas guys, I include my son Aaron, I include, others out there that, and you know who they are, that are out there fighting every day, all day long to bring you truth, to connect the dots. Because there's just what Waj said is very important is because if you listen, he's connecting, giving you this information and connecting it the dots to such a degree where you're not confused by everything going on. We're not chasing stories here. We're telling you the facts while the media right now out there is chasing, trying to explain to you that Donald Trump is tough on Russia, that all of a sudden that they're, somehow he has these, trying to put this peace talks together, that there's bilateral, trilateral meetings. We're telling you it's all theatrics. We're telling you that the bombing is still going to continue. The people are still, Putin's still going to try to take. But the most important thing, what we're telling you, is the only way we can help Ukraine, and the only way we can help anybody is if we help ourselves. And that is right now, we need to make a stance. We need to draw a red line. We need to speak to make our voices be heard louder than ever because we can't allow him to allow us to normalize federal National Guard in our states. We can't allow
Oh
to go.
no! Oh, there you go. He came back.
Yeah. We have the phone, yeah, to normalize to about how we vote in our country, to take away our rights. We have to speak out. And that's the only way we'll do it. And the only way you're gonna do it is by supporting, by subscribing, and I like it or not, I'm gonna tell you. But the paid subscribers, that's what makes it all happen because we don't have no paid walls. We're not out here trying to sell a story. We're out here trying to fight a resistance and get you the information. And the paid subscribers allow us to do the work to be able to get this information to as many people as possible for those that can't. So each and every one of you could do your job. So please do your job today and help us save our democracy. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No paywalls here. If you have some money, give it to Lev. If you have another $5, give it to me. He has 1,200 kids. I have 800 kids. But I believe people should be informed. I know the economy is tough right now, but I'm independent. And by keeping no paywalls and being independent, I could be as blunt and honest as possible. I can criticize and praise without fear or favor. And it's worth it for me. It's worth it for me to be honest with all of you and keep it real and keep it blunt and criticize and praise folks when they deserve it. This has been the Left Hook. I'm talking to Lev Parnas of Lev Remembers. If you all have a few bucks, become paid subscribers. It goes a long way. If not, at the very least, become a free subscriber. And again, for the 1,400 people who are watching, we've been talking for the past 45 minutes. This conversation will be up in about 30 to 40 minutes on my Substack and Lev's Substack. Strongly recommend going back and listening to it. Lev gave us a scoop. Each time Lev has been on for the past 2 months, I'm telling you, folks, these insiders that he has, he's banning 1,000 right now. And the scoop that he dropped, which he'll expand on later on a newsletter on Lev Remembers, is that Elon Musk has reached out to Dan Bongino. And Dan Bongino is pissed off. And Dan Bongino is worried about his reputation and his base that calls him a sellout. And Dan Bongino doesn't like how the Epstein files scandal has been suppressed. And him and Bondi do not get along. And we just found out yesterday that they brought in Missouri's attorney general. Why? Because that probably means Dan Bongino is on his way out and they're going to try to co-opt him or silence him before he goes out. Let's see what happens, folks. Divide and conquer, folks. Divide and conquer. To quote Ken Watanabe from Godzilla, let them fight. Everyone be kind, be decent, be empathetic, be informed, and please, oh please, don't be a fascist. Lev, enjoy your kids.
You
Thanks,
too,
thanks
Raj. Have a
everyone.
great night. Take care, my
Bye.
brother.